Charlie Kirk's death shook this nation, but what happened next may have changed it forever. We've got the emotional moments, the viral encounter between Elon Musk and President Trump, and the highlights from Donald Trump Jr., who had the stadium erupting with laughter after he brilliantly imitated his father. And then there was Charlie's wife, Erica, who shocked the world with her message to Charlie's alleged shooter, turning pain into a moment of courage that nobody will forget. But not everybody showed respect. While people of faith came together to mourn, Democrats like Jasmine Crockett chose to attack Charlie, even on the very day he was laid to rest. We will reveal the venomous reactions from the left, contrasted with Charlie's enduring legacy, one that continues to unite, inspire, and move mountains. This wasn't just a memorial, it was the birth of a movement, and you're about to see why. Charlie Kirk's memorial service was unlike anything that we've seen in modern American history. The crowd was bigger than MLK's, bigger than JFK's funeral. We're talking tens of thousands of people who poured into State Farm Stadium, flying in from every corner of the country just to honor one man's life. And if you want to know the kind of impact that Charlie had on people's hearts, watch this. An entire plane full of passengers breaking out in song as they touched down in Phoenix.
I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
That's not politics. That's faith. That is love. That's the power of a life lived for something bigger than yourself. Even the SWAT team holding the perimeter could not hold back their emotions. People lined up before 2 a.m. just to make sure they could get inside, and by 10, the stadium was already at capacity and thousands more had to be led across the street into an overflow building. What unfolded? It wasn't a service. It was a revival. It was love, light, and Jesus, everything that Charlie embodied. And before the memorial even began, thousands were worshiping together. Watch this.
I know it's not much, nothing else.
And maybe the most incredible moment of all, something Charlie would have absolutely loved, was what happened in the hallways. Thousands of people registering to vote. Republicans making huge gains today right at Charlie's memorial. His life wasn't just remembered, it sparked a movement, and it didn't stop there. Charlie's legacy did something the left said was impossible. It united the right. On the same floor today, we witnessed Elon Musk standing shoulder to shoulder with Matt Gaetz. And then, during the service, history quietly unfolded. President Trump and Elon Musk sitting side by side for the whole world to see for the first time since their falling out. Now, Charlie Kirk, he had long championed for the reconciliation, and it seems his influence endured well beyond the grave. His voice, his vision, and his insistence on unity brought them back together. But beyond politics, beyond the movement, Charlie's life was deeply rooted in faith. That faith not only carried him, it inspired everybody around him. His pastor sharing a powerful story that captures exactly who Charlie was.
He said something to me that he'd said a number of times. He said, he kept calling me his pastor, and I stopped him. I said, Charlie, since the president's gotten elected, your stock has risen through the stratosphere, and I don't see much of you. I mean, he wasn't a very good congregant. He was on the road 320 days a year. But he said, Rob, not only are you my pastor, but you're America's pastor. And I said, Charlie, if we were at a tabling event on a campus where you had the table said, prove me wrong, I'd win. And he looked at me with that sheepish grin that he always has. Doggone it if he wasn't right. I mean, I wasn't America's pastor 2 minutes ago, and I won't be after this, but for right now, he proved me wrong.
Charlie took us all to church today, and it was nothing short of glorious. And then there was Tyler Bauer, Turning Point's COO, reminded everyone what Charlie embodied: joy, humor, and the spirit of a happy warrior.
Charlie's having some serious heavenly FOMO right now. Look at this. You have no idea how much Charlie Kirk wants a bullhorn down here right now. He always said to me, if we can just figure out how to bring the Holy Spirit into a Trump rally, I think you've done it.
That was Charlie. Faithful, joyful, and fearless. And then came a more personal reminder, the story of how Charlie met the love of his life, Erica.
I got a call. I got a call from Miss Erica Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. It was obvious she was the perfect person for the job that Charlie and I had devised in one of our 24-hour planning sessions. I wanted to hire her. I only had one problem. Charlie Kirk wanted to date her. Long story short, I was very worried he was going to scare her off and screw it up. And I was going to lose this incredible prospect. Like all things he put his mind to, Charlie accomplished everything he put his mind to. They immediately fell in love, and I lost an employee. But now she's my boss. I'm sure you've heard. We love Erica Kirk.
As I'm sure you've heard, Erica is now the CEO of Turning Point, and I have no doubt she will carry Charlie's torch, make it even bigger and brighter in his honor. Because the truth is, Charlie's mission was never about one man. It was about the movement, about light, about faith that cannot be extinguished. And that's exactly what Tucker Carlson reminded everybody of today. Watch this.
It was about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I can just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. Any attempt to extinguish the light causes it to burn brighter. Every single time.
Charlie always brought out the best in all of us. When Charlie first said to me during the 2016 campaign, hey, let's start doing events on college campuses, I was like, whoa, seriously? Come on, man. We've given up on that. We're gonna let those kids grow up, and we'll get them when they start paying taxes. But he convinced me to give it a shot. And there were a couple events that showed just how brave and courageous Charlie was, even as a very young man. At Michigan State University, 5 minutes before we were supposed to go on stage, the state police told us, and I quote, "We can no longer guarantee your safety." Because the left-wing activists, they were going crazy. It was rough. That sounded like a great reason to pack it up and head out. But it was one of the many times that I would agree with Charlie, who said, no way, we're going out there anyway. Charlie led the way. His message was clear then, and his message is clear now. We won't back down. We won't be intimidated.
He died the way he lived, speaking the truth. Charlie waged war not with a weapon, but with a tent, a microphone, his mind, and the truth. And the gates of hell could not prevail against him. He went into the darkest of places, like Paul in the book of Acts. He went into college campuses where they said we couldn't go, and he was the light. He was bold, he was brave, he was a hero. Most people don't know this, but Charlie Kirk wanted to go to West Point. It never happened, obviously. His personal loss at that moment was our nation's great gain.
Charlie was a national treasure in this world, and he made it a better place. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he had a powerful message today, one that stopped me dead in my tracks and made me think. Take a look.
He was also bold. It is so easy, and listen, I've been guilty of it. I think many of us have been guilty of this. You hide behind the walls and you surround yourself with people that agree with you. We do it as a society all the time. Increasingly, people are moving into neighborhoods with other people that agree with them politically and isolate themselves from people that do not agree with them. But Charlie Kirk was bold. He actively sought out to engage peacefully, respectfully, those who he disagreed with.
Charlie Kirk didn't hide in agreement. He engaged with those who challenged him. The lesson for all of us here? Seek out debate, listen, and build bridges. That's how we honor his legacy.
Our call to action is now. Every one of us needs to be a warrior like Charlie, to take shelter in God, to draw strength and fearlessness from the Lord who sits within every one of our hearts, to stand together, continue the mission that Charlie dedicated his life to sharpen our weapons of truth, common sense, and reason, to train, to study, learn, and to speak, exercise our God-given right to speak, and carry that torch that shines brightly because of God's love.
He would tell me to pray. I'm certain of it. He would tell me to pray for my friends, but also for my enemies. He would tell me to put on the full armor of God and get back to work. May our Heavenly Father give us the courage to live as Charlie lived. That is what we must do for Charlie. You ran a good race, my friend. I love you. We've got it from here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Charlie has a powerful army of supporters ready to stand with him and advance his mission. Next came the moment we'd all been waiting for. His incredible wife, Erica. She stepped forward, speaking with unmatched grace, courage, and strength.
One moment, Charlie was doing what he loved, arguing and debating on campus, fighting for the gospel and truth in front of a big crowd. And then he blinked. He blinked and saw his Savior in paradise. After Charlie's assassination, we didn't see violence. We didn't see rioting. We didn't see revolution. Instead, we saw what my husband always prayed he would see in this country. We saw revival. This past week, we saw people open a Bible for the first time in a decade. We saw people pray for the first time since they were children. We saw people go to a church service for the first time in their entire lives.
I will be the first to admit, I did not realize how many people were truly touched by Charlie. But with that said, I'm also not surprised. But I wasn't prepared for what came next.
Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
I don't know about you, but that moment absolutely hit me like a ton of bricks. The room erupting in cheers, but you could feel the gravity of her words settle in. True forgiveness, even in the face of unimaginable loss. This is the result of someone who is rooted in faith deeply. Now, up next was the President of the United States, also a dear friend of Charlie's.
I know I speak for everyone here today when I say that none of us will ever forget Charlie Kirk, and neither now will history. Because while Charlie has been reunited with his Creator in heaven, his voice on earth will echo through the generations, and his name will live forever. To Charlie's parents who lost their beloved son, and to the entire Kirk family, we know that no words can ever be enough to fill the void he leaves behind. That's a void that just can't be filled. But I hope the extraordinary outpouring of emotion over these past 11 days has comforted you with the knowledge that your son brought more good and love into this world in his 31 short years than most people, even very, very successful people, can bring in a lifetime. Raised in the suburbs of Chicago, Charlie was filled with a patriotic spirit from his youth, and he was an all-American in everything he did. And one of the last things he said to me is, "Please, sir, save Chicago." We're going to do that. We're going to save Chicago from horrible crime.
Charlie played such an intricate role in the Trump administration, and he was a trusted voice of reason and inspiration, and now we can all see why. He will be missed deeply among all of them as well as us. Now, before we pivot to the Democrats' reaction, let's take a lighter moment from today's service, one that is circulating on social media, and it's brought to you by Donald Trump Jr.
Anyone who's seen me on social media knows I'm far more likely to crack a joke or get myself in trouble for posting some grossly inappropriate memes than I am to shed a tear. I know this because I've even gotten the call from that guy a couple times. You know, Don, you're getting a little aggressive on social media, Don. Relax. But last week, when I received word that Charlie, who was like a little brother to me, had been assassinated, I was truly devastated. We all were. To say Charlie knew more about the Bible than me is an understatement, folks. It's like saying Donald Trump knows more about being president than Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris. No kidding.
The laughter was a welcome break, I think, for so many of us that are feeling the pain right now. Speaking of pain, let's talk about the Democrats and their reaction. But before we get to Jasmine Crockett, I want to share with you this. Van Jones over at CNN just told a story about Charlie Kirk that's probably not going to shock many of you, but it clearly stopped Jones in his tracks. It started when Charlie spoke out about the brutal murder of a Ukrainian woman in North Carolina. The suspect was a black man. Charlie argued that the attack had racial undertones, and that sparked a heated public debate with Van Jones. But here's what most people didn't know. While that debate was raging, Charlie quietly sent Van a direct message on X that reads, quote, "Hey Van, I mean it. I'd love to have you on my show to have a respectful conversation about crime and race. I would be a gentleman, as I know you would be as well. We can disagree about the issues agreeably." End quote. Now, Van didn't even see the message until after Charlie was murdered. And now, listen to how Jones is processing that.
Look, I mean, we were beefing. We were going at it online, on air, and then after he died, after he was murdered, my team called and said, "Van, he was trying to reach you, man." What? And what was he doing? Dialogue. Let's be gentlemen together. He says, let's disagree agreeably. So I'm sitting on this and I'm watching the whole country talk about civil war, censorship, justifying murder about this guy? This guy is reaching out to his mortal enemy saying we need to be gentlemen, sit down together and disagree agreeably. And the next day he's killed. And I've sat on it long enough and I just said, you know what? We're going to Memorial Weekend for this man. We disagree. Everybody knows we were not friends, okay, at all. But you praise the good when it's time to memorialize somebody. And what he did, and I didn't even know it, was good. He was not for censorship. He was not for civil war. He was not for violence. He was for dialogue, open debate and dialogue, even with me.
That's how any civil human being should react to Charlie's death. Respect, even in disagreement. But Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, she could not manage that. She could not put her bitterness aside for just one moment, not even on the day of Charlie's memorial. Instead, she practically chose to spit on his grave. Listen to this.
The rhetoric that Charlie Kirk continuously put out there was rhetoric that specifically targeted people of color. And so it is unfortunate that even our colleagues could not see how harmful his rhetoric was specifically to us. And I can tell you that a month prior to him passing away, he had actually gotten out on his podcast. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but he got out there and he was talking negatively about me directly. So if there was any way that I was going to honor somebody who decided that they were just going to negatively talk about me and proclaim that I was somehow involved in the great white replacement, yeah, I'm not honoring that kind of stuff.
This is who Jasmine is, one of the most toxic voices in Congress. She smears, she slanders, she hides behind the race card. She throws around words like Hitler and dictator while pretending she's morally superior to a man of faith. A man who wanted nothing more than to build a more honest, God-fearing country. Here's Scott Jennings on CNN pushing back on Crockett's outlandish claim.
Well, she's lying. I mean, Charlie Kirk targeted nobody. He was not racist in any way. I've listened to hours and hours and hours and hours of Charlie Kirk debates and talks, and have been with Charlie Kirk and did events with Charlie Kirk and knew Charlie Kirk. There wasn't a racist bone in his body. To say that he was continuously targeting people of color is nothing but a malicious smear on the very day that people are remembering Charlie and he's going to be laid to rest.
The left has no boundaries and no moral compass for that matter. I mean, for anyone wondering what Charlie Kirk actually stood for, I want you to watch this. Watch how respectful he was, even when debating a black woman who completely disagreed with him. You'll even catch him quieting the crowd when they try and rise above her voice. He doesn't let things get disrespectful. Take a look.
So let's try to find some common ground. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Can you give me a definition of racism?
Racism, in terms of, I will say, okay, before I
You
give...
use the term,
yes,
so I want to make sure we're
that's
talking
fair.
about the same thing. Is that cool?
Yes, that's fair. I will say that I will state that I am biased because I will be speaking as a black person specifically from the United States of America and not anywhere else. But I will say racism is a discrimination against people of a minority that does not have a, okay, what is racism? Racism, without using the word.
Can't use the word racism.
Can't use the word. That's I'm trying. A discrimination against a minority class of people in order to create an imbalance in the society or a hierarchy based on something that is undetermined as of color, race, the color of your skin, or maybe even color of your skin.
Can you be racist against Asians?
Yes.
Can you be racist against white people?
I believe that you can have prejudice against white people, but in the way that this country was built and the way that this country has been founded and the way that there are many laws that have taken place, specific like where you were talking earlier with the whole reparations debate, there are many legacies of white people in this country that...
Guys, just, okay, let's just all take a breath. Gigi's talking.
Which I also would like, I feel like that kind of comes into, yes, we're not all from this country. This is a country of immigrants. This is a country of people from other countries.
So let me give you an example.
Yes.
If a group of black individuals, which happens unfortunately so often, say, we want to go beat up Whitey, and they go beat up a white person, was that a racist thing that they did?
I would have to ask for further context, but yes. Based off of that,
cool.
Yes.
So, but then let's go back to your definition, because your definition was that it had to be the exercise of power. I'm going to make your definition better for you, because the exercise of power against a minority group.
Yes.
But in that case, it wouldn't be, because it would be a group of black individuals versus a white individual.
Correct.
So wouldn't a better definition of racism be a human being or institution prejudicing or stereotyping against anybody else because of their race?
I do agree that is a better there's a better definition. I feel like in this country, we don't talk about enough, and I think that under this presidency...
Don't talk about what enough?
We don't talk about the history and the impact of long-term racism in this country against minorities.
Can I just press pause?
Yes.
That's all we've talked about the last 5 years. I mean, but hear me out. 1619 Project. We have entire black dedicated channels on Pluto and Hulu and Netflix. We have reoriented the entire national dialogue towards, we had the President of the United States, Joe Biden, take a knee for Black Lives Matter, to have racial reconciliation seminars, to have non-stop race obsession. So I think we've talked about it thoroughly and properly.
So do you think that black people in this country have equal opportunity and are treated equally as white
Absolutely.
people?
So let me prove it to you, okay? So Gigi and Charlie. What can Charlie do that Gigi can't do?
Okay, I don't know anything. I don't really know much about you. I don't know
Based
like
on the
what
law.
you're capable of.
No, just on the law.
Does that look like a man targeting people of color? No. That's a man trying to rise above skin color, teaching that if you're willing to work hard, you can achieve anything. That's a message of unity. But the left is too addicted to division. Without the race card, they lose their entire playbook. Here's Senator Mark Wayne Mullen laying out just how deep their hypocrisy runs.
When you had Melissa Hartman, the state representative that was assassinated, a resolution came forward. The entire House unanimously supported to condemn and to honor the life of her, condemn the assassination and honor the life. That same resolution with a name change said Charlie Kirk. What happened? Well, I want to point this out though. You had 58. But I want to point it out too, because hypocrisy for both sides on the free speech needs to be pointed out, because the same resolution that had Charlie Kirk's name on, you had 58 representatives vote no, 38 voted present, 22 chose not to vote. That is silent. So you had 118 individuals that didn't condemn it because why? Because of hypocrisy over both sides.
If 118 lawmakers can't even bring themselves to condemn the murder of a political opponent, then the greatest threat to our country isn't disagreement. It's the loss of basic humanity. See, Charlie's life is proof that one voice, one act of courage, and one heart full of conviction can change the world. And as we carry his vision forward, that world is already stronger, already brighter, already better because of him. That does it for us on this Sunday. God bless you, Charlie, and God bless America.